It's me from Nabi Wool Studio, Elaine. Um, you can find me on Instagram as Elaine Tom. You can find me on Ravelry as Elaine Maxeb. You can find me on Etsy, Nabi Wool Studio, Facebook, Twitter also, I think. But I just sort of post to Twitter from Instagram, so I'm not very active there. And I think that's all the places you can find me. But anyway, it's been a while. I think the last time I podcasted was in March, and that was the beginning of the pandemic. And now we are in September, so it's been half a year worth of this stuff. We here in Switzerland never had a total lockdown. We were allowed to go outside as much as we wanted with social distancing. The stores were all closed except for the drug stores and the grocery stores, but now everything is open again. You can even dine in, but the numbers are going up again. Kids are in school full time. Now the teachers in our area have been mandated to wear masks. So I guess we're constantly trying to find a new normal. And hopefully things will get back to a point where the things that were important to us before will be possible, like traveling and more interaction with people and all those things. One of the huge problems right now is traveling for me and my family. My kids have not seen my parents, their grandparents, in over a year now. I at least got to see my parents in January when I went to VKL, but boarding an airplane is not possible for us right now. I know you are able to fly, but having the kids wear masks for 9 hours and still not being certain with that we will be safe, and the whole quarantine situation in the States makes it quite difficult. But anyway, let's get to some of the knitting stuff. I have to say that during the pandemic, at least in the beginning, I had a very hard time with knitting. I could not, for the life of me, concentrate on knitting. So I basically had to spin as a way to sort of relax and I guess somehow that was less needing my brain power than knitting does, even though knitting is more natural to me, I think. So, anyway, I'm sorry about, there's all kinds of little noises happening. There's construction across the street, even though it's a Saturday. They've been way behind and they're trying to get that finished, and it would be really great if they did. And it's nice out, and we are on a quiet street, but sometimes it's noisy and sometimes the kids come out. So let's start. Oh, and by the way, on Thursday evening, I think it was, we had this wonderful, wonderful thing happen. The street is very residential, pretty much, very quiet. Um, it's not a dead end or anything, but still, there's not that much traffic here. And all of a sudden, I was at my desk knitting for the evening, and I heard music outside. And we have a lot of musicians actually on the block. And I thought, oh, someone's playing. Who is it? And for a while, when the pandemic was going around 7 o'clock, there was always a little music from the people on the street for the healthcare workers and stuff. But that ended, and so I thought it didn't sound like them either. So Victor Angelo came and played on our street. You should look him up on Instagram. He plays electric violin, I guess, and so we had an impromptu, spontaneous concert outside right below my balcony, and it was amazing. And I have to say that this year has been really, really difficult in many, many ways, and this really um, made my evening, my day, my year. I don't know. But it was really, really wonderful, and really appreciated it. And the music was incredible. and a lot of people from the street and other streets actually came over to listen to him play, and it was really, really nice. So let's do some knitting. So I am test knitting for Caitlin. This is High Lonesome, and I have separated now, and this is using Retrosaria Brusca as the main color, the yellow, and then Mungo, the recycled wool cotton in the dark gray, is my contrast color. So this is coming along nicely, and it's going to be released, I think, next week or the week after, so I need to move it a little there. But so that's from Caitlin Hunter, Boylan Knitworks. So the yarn is all from Retrosaria, Rosa Pomar, Brusca, and Mungo. So that's that. And then I started this yesterday, and I sort of can't put it down. So this is the Esther sweater from Camillavad, and so I'm using Camarose as this gray color, and this is Galler Yarns, Alpaca as the natural, it's like a heathery oatmeal, and this is the Camarose. It is Camarose, so that's that, and there is two colors of the Camarose in here. This will be the main color, the khaki. And then the other contrast color is this Snubby Wool Studio. It's a coppery color. You will have seen it in some of my other test knits, and it's really wonderful. And I am really loving how this is looking so far. It's really beautiful and very, very fun to knit. And then this is another one that the deadline is basically come and gone. The release will be soon. This is the Fennel cardigan, and it's looking a little cool right now on the screen. But this is a cardigan that's a test knit for Tête Bêche or Lane Souche, and this is using Snubby Wool Studio. This is an organic merino, and it's DK. So I just have to finish the sleeves and the neckband. Not much should be fast, but I'm procrastinating because of those darn sleeves. And I am also doing this test knit for Hand Knit Life, and I cannot pronounce this right now. Songao or something. It's two color, and it is Snubby Wool Studio. These are the two colors, and so that is coming out in October. Also very fun, addictive knit. Part of the reason why I'm way behind on all of my test knits is I've been doing sample knitting, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say who I've been sample knitting for, but I've done several, and they're shawls, and so I had to concentrate on those and get those done as quickly as possible, and so sample knitting takes precedence to test knitting, and personal knitting is the last thing. So that's that, and I'm also working on this, which is going to be a steeked sweater. This is looking a little messy right now, but this is a design from Ellie from Skein Deer Knits, and I'm using Let Lopi for that. And I know that it's very loose right now, but once it is washed, it will bloom beautifully. It's two colors of Let Lopi. So we have this naturalish grayish color, and this, there's only numbers listed. So that's that. It will be steeked by the armholes and the neck hole, and looking forward to that. And what else do I have here? I have, yes, this is the color that I'm using for the Hand Knit Life test knit. I'm working on socks also. Just started for Wilderness Knits. It's Socks of the Valley, I believe. And so those are, this is Nubby Wool Studio. It's naturally dyed non-superwash sock yarn. It's a Corriedale base and there's no nylon either. So this is avocado. And I have just one more also just started. This is the water pullover, a upcoming design from Amy Christophers, Savory Knitting. So the main is Daughter of a Shepherd, Buska, I believe, and the rest of the colors are in a Bee Wool Studio. So we have, these are some of the colors here. This is the main, the Buska is a dark brown. In my Jen Hewitt fringe bag, as you all know, I'm really sad about the whole fringe supply company shutting down. I'm a big fan of Karen's bags. I have them all over the place and will treasure them forever. So that is just some of my current whips. I also purchased the pattern for the flower shawl from Amy Christophers, and I'm hoping to get to that soon also, but I have to get through all these tests first. And what else is going on? Oh, I bought this the other day, which I'm excited to use or try. It's a sock yarn from Getifra, Lana Mia. This is new, and so it's basically wound so that you will have two perfectly the same socks. And so it starts with the natural color and a red, and so there's like a stripe. The pink is just the starting yarn, and then the foot and everything goes to this marled green. And there's several different colors, but this one really, at first I thought it was dull, but then I saw the sock knit up and I thought, oh, I love them. They remind me of like the sock monkey kind of look. And so my youngest has already claimed them for himself. He loves hand-knit socks and is knit worthy because he just wears them as much as possible. And he's growing so fast, so I'm going to have to make them a little bit bigger, I think. So those are some of the current things I'm working on. I have quite a mess here, I guess. I'm just trying to get through everything, get through my day. The kids are back at school, but it's still, the schedule is sort of crazier this year even. I have one kid starting early, going back early at lunchtime, staying late that day, and it's a lot to juggle. And then supposedly we're going to a day school schedule, which is sort of optional, and I think my kids are still opting to come home for lunch instead of staying at school for lunch. And yeah, I know that the numbers are slowly climbing, and there are teachers that are getting sick. So I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, that they will not go back to homeschooling, remote learning, and that hopefully a vaccine will come out, or several, and it will be safe, and people will get the vaccine, and we can try to navigate through this new world that we're living in. And hopefully we will take care of the environment so that things like this don't keep happening. I have had a lot of thoughts through this whole period that uh, has been very difficult for pretty much everybody, I guess. I think even if you don't feel the immediate stress, there is always an underlying stress in a situation like this. You being careful and the people around you being careful is great, but you just don't know beyond that circle, and and could spread so quickly, which is really is a lot to deal with. Um, but I am trying to keep up with my knitting, trying to stay positive, of course, and trying to get through it each and every day. The weather today has been good, and hopefully it will stay that way for a while because that also makes the situation a lot more difficult when the weather's not great and the kids cannot run around outside. And I've been trying to do a lot more walking. Um, I had a hip problem um, that started basically the beginning of this year, and it got really bad at one point, and I was going to physiotherapy and all this stuff, and then finally they did the MRI and have an FAI, which just means that my femur bone has a bump on it, and so um, when it hits the the hip, it it's not a smooth thing, and so repeating movement like that causes inflammation, and so it's far enough on my femur that normal movements should be okay, but since I'm pretty flexible and I do often go beyond the normal movements, I have now like this sort of like a callus almost where it's inflamed, and so basically part of the physio was to strengthen all the muscles around it and help my, I guess, my leg and femur and hip move smoother. And so I've been sort of trying to get that situation under control, and I'm feeling a lot better now, but that was going on for basically 9 months, so it was not fun. And I don't know. I am way out of practice, and I'm not even sure what I'm saying half the time. But things have been sort of crazy, and watching the news every day is also pretty stressful. But at the same time, it's also hard not to try to keep track of what is going on in the world. And I have to say that sometimes when I hear about what's going on in the world, I'm not quite sure if the information I'm getting is real because it seems so unbelievable. But through all of this, I hope you guys are staying safe and taking good care of yourself and your loved ones, and do what you need to do to take care of yourself to get through this with as little stress as possible. It's never going to be a no stress situation, but the knitting is is really helpful, and self care is really important. So, hopefully, I'll talk to you guys soon, and hopefully, I upload this. Bye.